Bobby Boucher is a 31-year-old, stuttering, socially awkward water boy who lives in Louisiana and rides a lawnmower to and from work. He has a lot of problems in his life, but the most significant is his repressed anger issues brought on by Helen, his overbearing and domineering mother, who constantly teased him and over-sheltered him. When he learned that his father had died of dehydration while serving in the Peace Corps in the Sahara, he decided to become the water boy for the University of Louisiana Cougars. However, the players of the team are not nice to him. They always torment him, and Red Beaulieu, the team's head coach, fires him because he constantly puts him through hardships during practice. After arriving home, Bobby informs his mother that he has lost his job. Instead of feeling sorry for him, Helen is happy to hear that because she wants Bobby to stay at home because she believes he is unable to socialize with others. However, Bobby isn't prepared to remain at home. That evening, he calls Captain Insane O, a well-known wrestler on a television program, and inquires as to whether he requires a water boy. When they learn that Bobby is 31 years old, Captain Insane O and the show's host Jim make fun of him. Bobby then approaches South Central Louisiana State University Mud Dogs coach Klein and requests a position as the team's water boy. Coach Klein has led the team for years without success after Red Beaulieu stole his brilliant playbook. Bobby learns from Klein that their team is financially strapped and cannot afford a water boy. However, after observing the unclean water drum from which the players are served, Bobby requests permission to work for the team for no pay. That suggestion triggers Klein's interest and allows Bobby to be the water boy of Mud Dogs. On his first day of work, he meets a player by the name of Derek. Derek treats him well, and the two of them end up becoming friends. The other players, however, decide to play around with the new water boy. As a result, one of them splits in the water drum and they both crash into Bobby. Coach Klein feels bad for Bobby and warns him that unless he speaks up for himself, the team will bully him all season. Realizing this, he rushes toward the individual who spilled into the drum and knocks him out. All those who witnessed it, including Derek, are stunned to see that. Bobby is then invited to join the team and play for the Mud Dogs by Klein, who had been looking for a strong player like Bobby. Bobby, however, declines to do so because he is aware that his mother Helen, who is determined to keep him on a strict schedule, will never permit him to do so. To make up for it, Klein decides to meet Helen in person because he is so happy to have Bobby on the team. On the day of the meeting, Klein visits a house where he is given a huge snake to eat. Klein raises the subject of Bobby playing football while they are eating. Helen interrupts him and says she doesn't want to lose Bobby by engaging in any risky games because he is the only one she has. Before departing, Klein shares with Bobby his childhood desire to have a tattoo of Roy Orbison and how his mother forbade him from getting one because she didn't want her children to suffer any harm. On his way out, Klein shows the tattoo of Roy Orbison he has on his ass and informs Bobby to ignore his mother's wish and reminds him sometimes mothers need not want to know everything. As Klein instructed, Bobby does not discuss it with Helen and agrees to Klein's request to enroll at SCLSU as a student and join the team. On his first day as a player, Klein requests that Bobby demonstrate a few of the standard football moves. Bobby, however, didn't comprehend any of those motions. Klein then understands that Bobby only possesses the ability to play football and has no prior knowledge of the game. When asked about it, Bobby replies that he thinks of the people in front of him as those who have injured him, which motivates him to strike them firmly. Klein then advises him to do the same while playing football. Bobby successfully knocks out another member of their team thanks to Klein's advice. But things don't stop there. When the teacher says something amusing about Bobby, Bobby even punches him in the face inside the classroom. Everything goes according to plan, and Bobby plays his first game for the Mud Dogs. Bobby successfully hits every opponent in the game by using the advice Klein gave him and helps the team and gain points. However, towards the end of the game, Bobby knocks an opposing player outside the line and that will be taken as a foul, which leads the management to disqualify the team and announce the opposite team winner. Bobby helped the team score points, but they lost the game because of Bobby's lack of knowledge about the game. Meanwhile, the town begins to talk about Bobby's performance, and coach Red Beaulieu, who sees Bobby on TV, begins to worry a little about his skills, especially after hearing that Bobby broke the NCAA record for most quarterback sacks in a single game. Bobby's newfound fame also enables him to rekindle his friendship with Vicky Valancourt, a local goth girl mechanic and football groupie who has served several prison terms and was also his high school crush. However, Helen forbids Bobby from seeing Vicky again after he invites her to his trailer and meets his mother there during a cookout. Helen also informs Vicky that the only woman in Bobby's life is her and that she will not permit anyone to come close to him who might take Bobby away from her. One day while walking home, he sees Vicky and they both go on a date. Later, Bobby takes Vicky to his house. They both kiss, which was Bobby's first kiss. But before they take things further, Bobby becomes scared of his mother waking up and sends Vicky back home. While all these happen in his life, Bobby learns the game and helps his team win their first game in the season. Bobby quickly becomes one of the most feared linebackers in college football, hitting opposing players with injury-causing galvanizing force. His popularity encourages other clubs to try some hidden talents of their own, including a water boy, towel boy, and more. However, they couldn't find anything of use. The Mud Dogs managed to go on a winning streak and secure a spot in the yearly Bourbon Bowl, where they will take on the Cougars and Coach Beaulieu. At the celebration, Cougars show up and make fun of Bobby just like they did when he was working for them. Vicky places a knife on the throat of one of the players and demands respect. As the tension mounts, Coach Beaulieu appears and reveals that Bobby never completed high school. Because of that, Bobby cannot be enrolled in college and also cannot play for the college football team. The Mud Dogs will be forced to drop Bobby from the team, but the other players promise they will perform better, even if they don't have Bobby. The people do not believe them, but still applaud to keep the players motivated. However, Klein, who started all this, is not ready to give it up. Hence, he looks for some solutions that help Bobby get back into the team. Bobby asks Klein why he is doing all this, and he tells Bobby his backstory with Coach Red Beaulieu. Klein and Coach Red Beaulieu used to work as assistant coaches for Kavanaugh. Coach Red used to run the practices, and Klein used to come up with game plans and strategies. After Kavanagh's death, Coach Red takes Klein's strategies book and gives that to the management, claiming he was the one who came up with all those game plans. As a result of that, Coach Red gets the new job as head coach, and Klein gets fired. Klein wants to take revenge on Coach Red, but he wants to do it in the field. And to achieve that, he believes he needs a great player like Bobby. Bobby understands Klein and promises to help him with the game. Meanwhile, Bobby manages to pass his GED exam, despite his mother's objections about him going back to college. But Helen somehow comes to know about Bobby playing football and fakes falling ill to keep Bobby away from playing football. Bobby thinks his mother is heartbroken and hence decides to quit playing and stay with her. Meanwhile, Vicky goes to everyone in the town and requests everyone to join and show their support toward Bobby. They all come together and meet Bobby and Helen in the hospital. Seeing the town residents' support and love towards Bobby, Helen changes her mind. The following day, Helen decides to be honest with Bobby and tell him what really happened to his father and the reason behind her illness deception. Helen explains that Bobby's father, Roberto, while she was expecting Bobby, left for a voodoo priestess. Helen was severely hurt by this, and as a result, she shielded Bobby from the outside world. She tried to keep Bobby to herself, as she believed Bobby would leave her too. But now, Helen realizes that the best thing for her to do is let him go, since he has made a lot of wonderful friends, and encourages him to play in the Bourbon Bowl. On the big match day, Helen drives Bobby there in a motorboat with Vicky's assistance. Arriving at halftime of the Bourbon Bowl with Helen and Vicky, Bobby manages to encourage the losing Mud Dogs to make a comeback. The group acknowledges that Bobby has taken on the role of the Mud Dogs' heart and soul. Helen, on the other hand, reconsiders her belief that football is for the devil after witnessing the fervent crowd support at the Bourbon Bowl. Coach Klein also overcomes his fear of Red Beaulieu with Bobby's assistance by visualizing him as something he is not afraid of, which is a toddler. As a result of that, Klein is able to produce amazing new plays that enable the Mud Dogs to catch up. Meanwhile, Vicky is seen giving the Mud Dogs water, and Helen assists the cheerleaders by making coffee, which helps keep them energized as they rally their supporters. After a tough battle, Bobby's touchdown pass on the final play gives the Mud Dogs the Bourbon Bowl victory. Bobby also wins the game's MVP award. Sometime later, Bobby and Vicky get married and are riding the lawnmower. Helen acknowledges that Vicky is a good woman who will take care of him, despite the fact that she still has some reservations about her. Roberto, Bobby's father, unexpectedly shows up as they are leaving and informs them that he heard from ESPN that they might sign with the NFL. Bobby explains to him that he prefers to stay in school and complete his degree rather than play in the NFL. In an effort to benefit personally as Bobby's father, Roberto tries to persuade Bobby to drop out of school and join the NFL. But before finishing, he is tackled to the ground by the enraged Helen, who is applauded by the spectators. After that, Bobby and Vicky happily depart to complete their marriage.
Thank you for watching. It may be easy for you to like and subscribe, but it means the world to us. Please subscribe for more movie recaps.